welcome back to my channel. My name is PrachiSharma, and in today's session we are working on the second part of the chapter, Some Basic Concepts of Chemistry, and this series is going on for class 11th ISC and specifically chemistry, of course. Now let me tell you how this video is cut out in parts. So in the first portion we'll be working on the percentage composition, so weight by weight, weight by volume, volume by volume. In the last part of the video we'll be talking about molarity. So this is the entire concept. In today's session we won't be working on any numericals. Today's session is only about understanding the basic concepts of these terms, the definitions, and how to solve the numericals, what kind of questions we expect, and how to solve or how to approach a numerical. But we won't be solving any specific numerical today. Initially, we'll also start with two of the homework questions. So, start off with the two homework questions from the last session, talking about weight by weight, weight by volume, volume by volume, and the last portion would be molarity. So, as I always say on this channel, without wasting any time, let's get started. So students, let's get started with the homework questions. So these two questions were your homework in the last session. So let's get started with the first one. So the first question says, the relative abundance of two isotopes of copper having atomic masses 62.93 U or unified and 64.94 unified are 69.09% and 30.91% respectively. Calculate the average atomic mass of copper. Now, if this question shows up in your school examination, what should be your basic approach, or what would you start off with? So you will start off directly putting the values in the formula. And what is the formula? Let me make some space here for you guys. So let me move this. Okay, now let's see. So you remember the formula. So in the formula what was happening is atomic mass times the abundance plus atomic mass times the abundance divided by the sum of abundances, or directly you can put in 100. So let me write that for you. So what would that look like? This would look like 62.93 times 6 times 69.09 plus 64.94 times 30.91 divided by the sum of these two, or I can directly write 100. It is the same thing. So either you can go ahead and solve this question, use a calculator or your basic calculations and go ahead and solve this. If you do want to save time and you want to have more accurate answers without wasting so much time on such questions, then use the trick that we discussed. So the trick suggested that look at the one that is more in abundance. So that is 69.09. So this atomic mass, so I'll simply write that here. So 62.93 U. So this is your atomic mass. This was the first trick. That means whatever is in abundance, your answer will be closer to that. Okay. Now the second part of the trick was to calculate the average of the two atomic masses. So what do we have here? We have 62.93. So 62.93 plus 64.94 divided by 2. So I'll quickly use a calculator to speed up the calculations. So that would be 62.93 plus 64.94 divided by 2. So I have 63.935. So 63.935. So whatever answer you give for this particular question should be between this range, starting from 62.93 to 63.93. So you have a whole range of 1 unit where you can give out the answer. So your answer can be anything. Your answer can be somewhere in between these two ranges. So you can write the answer as 63. Let's say 5. Write 63.50, or you can give in 63.3. All of the answers between this range more or less will be accepted, because the difference would be only about a couple of points, and that much or that variation is allowed. Now let's move on to the next question. Now the next question, now in this particular question we cannot skip the calculations. You are supposed to do the calculations. So whenever we are supposed to get the percentages, you will be calculating them either by using the calculator as allowed in ISC, or you can use your calculations for CBSE board. So let's look at the question. The average atomic mass of a sample of an element X is 16.2. What are the percentages of isotopes? So what are, let's put in the information in the chart. So I have the element as X. What are my isotopes? So 16X and 18X. I do not know the abundance, so I'm going to take X. Let's take A. I'll take A and 100 minus A. And on this side, the combined or the average is coming out to be 16.2. So let's put the information in the formula that we know. So that will be 16A plus 18, 100 minus A divided by 100 equals 16.2. So once you solve this information, you'll be able to find out the answer for A. So let's quickly do that. Okay, so this will give you minus 2A. On this side, you will have 180. So your A will come out to be 90%. So the A is 90%, and your second one would be of course 10%. So this would be the answer for the abundances. Now let's move ahead with today's session, and let's start with that. So the part that we will be covering on in today's session would be weight by weight percentage. So weight by weight percentage. Students, all of this portion is extremely important, because whatever we are covering will not only show up in your school examinations, but this is also important with respective to your competitive examinations. And once you do this in 11th grade, this is the best time to spend more time on practicing this and understanding this concept rather than repeating it again in next year. So make sure that you're making your notes very clearly and you're understanding step by step. Okay, so no rush with this topic. Take your time. So when we talk about weight by weight percentage, it is part of a percentage concentration. So when we have percentage concentration, let me do that, write that here. So percentage concentration, we have a few different under this branch. So what is that? We have a weight by weight, weight by volume, or volume by volume. Okay, so this is how you denote them. Either you can write complete weight by weight, or you can write weight by volume, or you can write volume by volume. What is this information? So when I start with weight by weight, so let's pick up that. So if I have weight by weight, what all information am I getting from this? So for example, let's say you get a statement, 20% of a substance weight by weight. This can also be written as, weight by weight can also be written as by weight only, or it can also be written as by mass. One important thing for you to understand is, or remember is, that in chemistry there is no difference between weight and mass, because we are not considering or giving any weightage to the gravitational force. Okay, so that is the reason if you have weight written or mass written, we are talking about the same thing. For example, even when we talk about weight by weight percentage, that can also be written as mass percentage. Okay, it is the same thing. So let's move ahead with the topic. So when I say that I have 20% of a substance weight by weight, So what do I mean by that? So from lower classes, that is 6th and 7th grade, you understand what is 20%. 20% is nothing but 20 over 100. Correct? This much we understand. So what is this with respect to weight by weight? So 20 over 100 means 20 solute and 100 is your solution. So this is the comparison of weight by weight. And what are the units? The units will be gram over gram. So of course in chemistry we do not have CGS and SI unit system. So if we say it is gram by gram, it is supposed to be gram by gram. You cannot change it as per your convenience. You cannot make it kilograms. It has to be grams by grams. So when we say 20% of a substance weight by weight, we are saying 20 over 100. 20 grams of solute divided by solution. Okay, so 100 is your solution. This is what the information is. Now let's move on. For example, if I say I have a solution which has sugar plus water. So this is your solute and this is your solvent. Correct? So when I say I have 20 grams of solute, 100 grams of solution, can I find out the solvent quantity from that? So let me write that here. So if I say weight of solute is 20 grams, or if I say weight of solution is 100 grams, you can find out the weight of the solvent, that is 80 grams, students. That is correct. The reason we are going through all these details is so that when you read a question, mentally you are able to calculate all of these information and chuck it out from the question and directly solve it. Okay. So instead of directly cramming up the concept, then trying the question, try to understand the concept. So when I have weight of the solute, that is 20. Weight of the solution is given 100. So I can calculate weight of the solvent. That is correct. I have 80 grams. So that means weight of the solvent is always given in the question to you. It is just up to you if you are able to figure it out or not. Okay, students. So let's move ahead. Let me tell you a very common question that they can ask you is, what do you understand by the term? And you can take the same example. So they can ask you, what do you understand by the term, or by not by the term but by the statement? And the statement given to you is, let's say 20% of a substance X weight by weight. So how will you write the statement? So for now you understand the statement that you have 20 grams of the solute divided by 100 grams of the solution. But how will you write this in the exam? So this is exactly how will you write it in the exam. So let me write the answer for you. The way you will express this in the exam would be that 20 grams of the substance X is dissolved in 100 gram of solution. Students, one important thing for you to understand is whatever they have given with the percentage. For example, they have given 20 grams of the percentage, right? So 20% of the substance. This substance X that they have given you is the solute. Okay? Because when you are solving the questions, it is not that easy for you to identify a solute if you do not understand what that is. Because you can have toluene, benzene, so you can have all liquids combined together and they can ask you the percentages, right? You can have HCl, water. So how will you identify what is solute and what is solvent and what is, like, how is the solution working? Correct? So whatever percentage that they have given you to start off with, 20% of a substance, this substance is your solute. Okay, students, don't be confused with that. So let's get started and move on. Now this is your weight by weight information. Okay, so for by weight, this is all the information that we have figured out. Let's quickly take a recap. So weight by weight means both of them are supposed to be in grams. The numerator is giving me the volume, the weight in of solute, and the denominator is giving me the weight of solution. I can easily figure out the weight of the solvent. Okay students, so keep repeating after me whenever we take a recap. Keep repeating after me so that you have strong grip on what the concepts are. Let's move on to the next one. Now the next that we are working on today is your mass by volume. You can also call it weight by volume. Okay, or you can call it weight by volume percentage, you can call it mass by volume percentage, you can call it like you have XYZ names for it. So mass by volume percentage, or you can call it weight by volume percentage, or you can simply call it weight by volume. Depending on question to question, you can have different variations in the formation of the question. So let's start and understand this one. Now we'll again take an example. For example, the example given to you is 5% of a substance Y weighed by volume. So what do we understand by this statement now? 5% of a substance Y weighed by volume. So what do we mean? We mean that you have 5 over 100. Okay. The numerator is giving us weight, the denominator is giving us volume. The numerator is in grams and the denominator is in milliliters. Again students, you cannot change the units. If it is milliliters, it is supposed to be milliliters. Okay. So 5 by 100. So weight by volume. Weight is in grams and your volume is in milliliters. Okay. I hope that makes sense. And as we discussed in the last part also, the numerator is talking about solute and the denominator is talking about solution. So let's see what the statement means to us. So this statement is telling me that 5 grams of the substance is dissolved in 100 milliliters of the solution. Okay, I hope that makes sense to you. So 5 grams is your solute, 100 milliliters is your volume. So let me write what the statement means. So 5 grams of the substance Y is dissolved in 100 milliliters of solution. Okay, so this is what the statement means. Now let's move on. Now one thing for you to understand is that of course in the exam when they are talking about weight by volume, and they both are in different denotions, one it is in grams, one is in ml, and they ask you any information about the solvent, how will you figure that out? Because both of them have different units, one is weight and one is volume. How will we talk about the solvent in that case? So this is where density comes into the picture. Okay, so what is density? If you remember from the last grade, from 10th grade, what is density? Density is your mass by volume. Okay, so let me write that here. Let me write that in a way that you understand. So for example, they are asking you weight of solute is given. So you have 5 grams. They have given you volume of solution 100 ml. Now they are asking, give us some information on the solvent. Like they can ask you anything. Either they can ask you the weight or the volume of the solvent. Anything can be asked. So how will we do that? So we'll talk about the density. So density is mass by volume. Mass by volume. And one thing for you to remember is that whenever you are in such a situation that you have the weight and the volume, whenever you are in such a situation, they will definitely give you density. Now density can be given of different things. Either they can give you the density of the solute or they can give you the density of the solution. Okay, so but density will be given in the question. You won't get a question in which density is not given and they are asking you about the solvent. If they are giving you this much information only, they will ask you questions within that. If they end up asking something extra, they will give you the information of density. So let's see. Density, the formula is mass upon volume. So mass is in grams and your volume is in milliliters. So if we solve that, what would happen is, now and one important thing I missed out is that when I talk about density can be of the solution or the solute, correct? So if they are saying density of the solution, then they are also talking about mass of the solution and they are also talking about the volume of the solution. If they are giving you density of the solute, then your mass is of solute divided by volume of the solute. So whatever density they have given, that will identify or that will help you understand what formula to use or what is happening in this question. Okay students, so let's see. Now density of the solution is given, so that means mass m of the solution divided by volume of the solution. Okay, so let's see how will we solve this particular question. So density of solution equals mass of solution divided by volume of solution. Now density, that was 500. Okay, so let's say density of the solution is given D only. So what will be the mass of the solution? Mass of the solution will be density of the solution times volume of the solution. Density of the solution, let's say it is D only, and volume of the solution was 100 milliliters. So you have 100 D. This is what? This is your mass of the solution. Now we are trying to reach the mass of the solvent. So mass of the solution you have figured out. Mass of solute was 5 grams. If you remember, I took the example 5%. So that means mass of solvent will be 100 D minus 5 students. Correct? So this is how, now when you get a question in the exam, this information is something that we expect you to start doing in your brain already. That means as soon as you see that density of solute or density of solution is given, mentally you know what we are trying to do. So you're trying to get the mass of the solution, then subtract it from the solute and figure out the solvent. So this is how some basic concept should start working in your brain as soon as you see the question. Okay students, so I hope this makes sense to you. So let's quickly take a recap. You have to revise along with me. So when we talk about mass by volume, that is M by V, we are talking about mass in grams of the solute divided by the volume of the solution in milliliters. Okay, so if this question comes up and you're supposed to calculate some information around the solvent, then density will be given to you. When I talk about density will either be given to you for the solution or for the solute. Okay, so if they have given you for the solution, then mass upon volume that you use, both of them have to be for the solution. If solute is given, then mass by volume is supposed to be for the solute. Okay, so let's say you have given, you have got for mass, the density of the solution, then mass of the solution divided by volume of the solution. Now mass of the solution, let's say it is D times V, so you get 100 D. Mass of the solute we already know was 5 grams, so mass of the solvent will be 100 D minus 5. Okay students, I hope it makes sense to you. Now let's move on to the next part. Now the next part that we are working on is volume by volume percentage. Okay, so V by V. Volume by volume percentage, or you can call it V by V. Now we'll do the same thing. I'll write a statement and we figure out what all information we have. If you want to try this on your own, I'm writing the statement. You pause the video and figure out all of the information. Similar way that we have done so far. Nothing is changing. Okay. So let me write that. So the statement for this particular thing would be, let's say 2% of a substance Z, volume by volume. So what do we mean by that? So they can also say V by V. So what do we mean by that? Again, first I'll put 2% as 2 by 100. That will be my first step. So 2 by 100, and since both of them are in volume, so milliliters and milliliters. This is V by V, both of them are volumes. And what are we talking about? We are talking about volume of solute divided by volume of solution. Simple, extremely simple. So since you have the volume of the solute and the volume of the solution, you can easily find out volume of the solvent. So let me write that. So volume of solute is 2 ml. Volume of solution is 100 ml. So volume of solvent will be 100 minus 2 equals 98 ml. Right, students? Now let's say instead of asking the volume of the solvent, they are asking you the mass. So how will we work around that? If they are talking about anything around mass, let's say they ask mass of the solvent. So again the same thing will happen. They will give you the information about the density of the solution or density of the solvent. So let's say if they are asking you volume of the solvent you figured out, they are asking you what is the mass of the solvent. Then they will give you density of the solvent. So density of solvent equals mass of solvent divided by volume of solvent. Okay students, I hope this makes sense. Whatever density is given to you, mass upon volume, both of the information will be from the same, for the same topic. That means if it is solute, mass upon volume of solute. If it is solution, mass upon volume, both of them of solution. And if it is solvent, both of them of solvent. So in this case, I am assuming that the question is, what is the mass of solvent? So density of solvent is given, mass of solvent divided by volume of solvent. So let's do that. Density of solvent I am taking as D. So you have D equals mass of solvent, you have to figure out, divided by volume of solvent, you got 98. So the answer will become 98D as the mass of solvent. Okay students, I hope this makes sense to you. Now let me ask you a question. So let's say you they ask you you have 5% W by W. What are the units for this particular question? So if they directly ask you in multiple choice question like compare the units, so what will be the answer for that? The answer will be grams by grams. Okay, grams by grams will be the answer for this particular area or this particular type of question. Same thing can happen for W by volume, weight by volume or volume by volume. Similar type of question can come. They'll give you the information and ask you the units for it. So you have to be very specific with that. Now let's move on to the next topic. Now the next is a very interesting topic, that is moles. And trust me, a lot of students find this portion very difficult. That is moles, molarity and whatever comes after this. So please be patient. If you want to take a break right now, take a break and join back. Breathe in, get some water and we'll get started. So what do we mean by moles? Now, whenever we talk about a solution, let's say there is a solution and I ask you that you have studied solute, solvent, solution so many times. So how will you identify which one is solute and which one is solvent, or what is working, what is the ratio? So majority of the cases, the students tell me that, ma'am, whatever is less in quantity will be the solute. But students, that is not true, because in that case they are comparing it by weight. For example, if I say I have 5 grams of X and I have 10 grams of Y, and I ask you which one is solute, so the students will directly tell me, ma'am, 5 grams is solute. But how are we figuring it out? So by weight, you cannot figure out which one is solute. Although I understand that about 90% of the chances your answer will be correct, that 5 grams will be solute. But that is not the correct way to identify a solute. Okay, students? So we will not go by weight when identifying solutes or solvents. Okay, so forget about that part. And I hope you understand as we move along from here. Now, when we talk about moles, mole helps us identify the solute or the solvent. What is moles? So mole is technically you can say quantity of that particular like solute. For example, you have solute. So if I say I have number of moles, okay, I have X number of moles. The number of moles will help you identify which one is solute and which one is solvent. So let's start writing the information about moles. So the first thing that we know about moles is that moles are denoted by small letter n. Okay, so moles are denoted by small letter n. That is the first information. The second information is solute plus solvent equals solution. So the solute will be the one with lesser moles. So lesser moles, and solvent will be the one with higher moles, or let me say more moles or higher moles, whatever you want to say. So higher or more moles. Okay. So any you can say X substance, any X substance which has lesser moles is the solute, and any substance which has higher or more number of moles is your solvent, and combining this you get your solution. So from henceforth, whenever you get a question and they say you have 10 moles of X and you have 5 moles of Y, so which one is solute and which one is solvent, you should be able to identify them. Okay, students? So let's move on to the next part of this. In the next part, what is the formula for moles? How do we calculate number of moles? So number of moles equals weight in grams divided by the molecular weight. Okay, students? So whatever weight in grams is given to you, divided by the molecular weight of that particular substance. Okay, students? So let's say, for example, you have 36 as the weight given in grams, and you have 36.5 as the molecular weight. So this is an example for you to understand that this will help you identify N, that is number of moles. Okay, students? So I hope that makes sense. Now let's write this formula properly. So N is weight in grams of solvent divided by the molecular weight of solvent. So it has to be of that specific substance only. So if you're talking about solute, number of moles will be equal to weight in grams of solute divided by the molecular weight of solute. So whatever you're trying to calculate the moles for, that is the information that you will be using in the formula also. Okay, students? Now let's talk about the unit of moles. So when we talk about the unit of moles, it is nothing but moles itself. So it is moles, M-O-L-E-S. So M-O-L-E-S. It is moles itself. So if I have, let's say 4, so what is the unit? 4 moles. So 4 moles. So that is how you write it. Now let's talk about, so this is about moles. Let's take a quick recap about it. So what are moles? Moles are denoted by a small letter n, You have to remember the denotion, students. A lot of denotions are very close to each other. That means small n, capital N, small m, capital M. So please be sure of what you're using. So when we talk about moles, moles are denoted by a small letter n. And if I talk about a solution, so lesser moles help us identify the solute. Higher number of moles tells us about the solvent. And what is the formula? The formula is number of moles equals weight in grams divided by molecular weight. And if you're talking about solute, so that is the weight you will take in numerator and that is the molecular weight you will take in denominator. So for the same thing. And what is the unit of mole? It is moles. Okay, students. So my ISC warriors, this is it for today's session. I am sure that this trick will help you help you solve so many big questions in such less time. And these type of tricks are very helpful even for your examination in school or even for the preparation of IIT or NEET. So do provide me your feedback on what you think about this session. How were you able to follow through, and did you find this trick helpful or not? So let me know that in the comment box below. Please do subscribe to the channel, share the channel with your friends and help us grow further. Stay tuned for more content. Thank you so much.